Hour number two underway here from St. Thomas Sports Park, where new Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley is hanging out with me in the Dr. Doom room, the Robert Brazil room here at the facility. My man, that was an electric press conference. Congratulations on your new deal, and I know Titans fans are happy to have you here.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so for you, there has to be so many different emotions and so many things going on, especially this being truly the first time that you've been a free agent. What was kind of that like on you and your family and your reps? I mean, I know it had to been a little touch and go there for a couple of weeks.
Oh man, it was exhausting, honestly. Because it was a good exhausting.
Yeah.
Because man, those numbers that you hear and you're like, damn. It's kind of overwhelming. Honestly. Yeah. It's just really overwhelming, but it's a blessing. And I'm excited to be here, and thank God, Titans gave me an opportunity, gave me that call, and I'm just ready to showcase my talent.
So for people who don't ever get to see that kind of money in their lives, right? When you talk about the numbers floating around, what do you kind of do to keep yourself centered in a situation like that? Because this is generational, life-changing wealth. This is going to help you and your family for years and years to come. How do you kind of keep the main thing, understanding the money obviously is important?
All right. So for the first couple of days, like as the process was going, I felt okay. And it didn't happen. I started feeling like overwhelmed or just very excited until the day that I got the call, and it was like, we're going to give you this. I was like, oh, my feelings were just way. So I would get on the phone with my boys, and I would tell them how I was feeling. They would just be like, one of my boys is very into, his mental and just being, at peace.
Sure.
So I was telling him how I'm like, bro, I'm all over the place. I'm just moving, walking right now. I just don't know how to feel. You know what I'm saying? So he sent me some music, some peaceful music, and I got on that. And
a little zen.
So just to move me out, just to get my anxiety a little down, because I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So I did that, and I just had to see my wife, talk to her, and just be like,
yeah.
Can you believe it? So, once we got past that and we got here and got up, it kind of the jitter started to go, and it's still a little in there right now, but I feel pretty good.
Oh, sure, it's an exciting time for you, for your family, as you mentioned, and for all the people who have helped you get to this point. And obviously, your experience has been so unique to go through the 2 years that you had, have the year in Jacksonville after a full year out of football, and then to rebound the way that you did. I know it wasn't entirely smooth sailing in Jacksonville. That's been discussed plenty. But for you, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from last year specifically, once you were back into things and started to kind of feel it out again?
The biggest thing I learned is, no matter even how hard I work, I still got to take it over the top every time, because, my hard work, you don't see the hard work that we put in. You just see the game, right? I worked so hard, but sometimes it wasn't, coming to how I wanted it to be. So after the season, I said, hey, I worked hard though. I mean, it didn't go how I wanted. I got to work even harder. So I just got to put myself in a position to, slow down in those moments and nail those moments, so that I'm not having regret at the end of the day. So that's kind of how I look at it. I hate regret.
Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley hanging out here with us at the facility. Just signed his new deal, just gave his press conference, and getting ready to do the full media tour after this, I'm sure. But for you mentioned, Jacksonville and having interest in going back there, and ultimately it didn't come out. And you mentioned your level of comfort. What was the thing that kind of lessened that comfort level for you that might have forced you to make a decision or pushed you in a different direction than you otherwise would have considered initially?
Yeah,
because it's tough to kind of have a bunch of stuff out there about you when you know how it actually went down, and the ability to set the narrative straight is important.
It was just more like, I was raised under in my first years Atlanta, and I had vets, grown men, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, very vets. You don't really gotta mess with them. They're gonna train, they're gonna work out, they're gonna come to work, they're gonna play good in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I was used to that, and learning from I learned all the stuff I was bringing to Jacksonville from them.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it. I'm gonna be all right. Y'all tell me what y'all need me to do. I'm gonna tell y'all, and this is how I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it good for you. So once it was just a little weird, and I wasn't being able to do the things how I wanted to do it and all that. I was just sometimes it would get me out of get mad, and now I'm like out of the game, and it just something I have to deal with that I can only explain and make sense to me because it was just things that, like I said, made me uncomfortable.
For you, as you talked about at the press conference, the Titans were in it initially, and then made an offer to your representation about that. How much of that did you want to be like dialed into, or are you one of these people that just prefers to, I have an agent, they handle the contract negotiation, you let me know what you think the best thing is, and then I'll ultimately make the decision. What was your kind of approach to free agency?
Yeah, this is my first time in free agency. My approach was like you said, I was going to let my agent pretty much do all the work and all the talking, and that's what I did. He did all the work and all the talking. But
you're a pretty good agent.
Once it was all over, obviously I got on the phone with the GM and coach and everybody. So, but yeah, I had to let my agent handle that because this is my first time in free agency, and he's the professional at that, and I just had to let him work.
What was the conversation like with Rand? You mentioned the GM and head coach Rand and Brian Callahan here. What was the conversation like when you ultimately figured out, all right, this is what it's going to be?
Yeah, the GM, man, he said some of the things that just made me instantly like him.
Yeah.
He instantly was like, we're gonna treat you like a man. We're gonna put you, in positions to, that you want to be in, and and then he told me a little bit about his background and where he was from and everything, and I can relate to him a little bit. So I kind of was like, I like him a lot just from that conversation. And obviously, I came up here today, and we hung out with him for a couple of hours, and it's really good with my daughters and my wife. So
easy person to talk to, Rand.
Easy person to talk to, and I really like that. So I'm excited to continue to see him every day or whatever, and get up here and start working, man.
Now, obviously, so early in the process, how you guys are going to go about things ahead of training camp and the regular season, this, that, and the other, very premature. But what about what you know of what they ran in Cincinnati excites you about the possibility of this offense now that you have Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, you got DeAndre Hopkins opposite you, and this is all before they add pieces in the draft. What are the things that excite you the most about playing in a system similar to what they ran in Cincinnati?
I know they pass.
Yeah, they like to pass.
Right. I know they like to pass, and I know the two backs that we have, they're really, really explosive backs and quick. And obviously D-Hop is over there, but I think with those already, you can do so much. And I'm the type of guy you could be creative with me. You could put me anywhere, and I'll do my best to make some shape. But I'm crazy excited about it. I love passing game.
Yeah. They like it around here. We had Callie on at the combine. All I took away from that puff was a lot of touchdowns. A lot of touchdowns good in the future.
And that's my plan. I plan to score a bunch of touchdowns.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you mentioned the versatility and the way that you're going to be able to now move around the formation and stuff like that. That wasn't exactly what they were doing with you in Jacksonville, and situation was different here. Personnel was different there. What do you think that is going to, where do you see yourself fitting best within a system like this, understanding that Hop can really be a true, line of scrimmage outside wide receiver?
No, I could be the outside guy, but you also just don't, I'm a route runner. Don't limit my routes either. Then I could be an outside guy. I could be an inside guy every night. I'd rather be an outside guy than an inside guy, but just don't limit my routes.
Right.
Let me run everything across the field. I could be a 4-1 guy across the field is what I'm saying, because I have creativity to get over there. So let me run them all. Literally. Let me run all the routes.
How much can that help define the throw for a quarterback? Because this is obviously a young player in Will Levis. He's heading into his second year. He's getting a lot of support around him this offseason as they try to improve upon their situation from the past two seasons where it's been a bit of a struggle. How much can a player like you, who understands that route craft at such a high level, help define the throw for the quarterback?
Can help him a lot. But that doesn't just come from, practice. Me and Will have to go to the field. We got to go to the field. We got to talk. We got to throw. We got to talk. We got to talk.
He's a talker.
We gotta be on the same page. We gotta know how I like it. I gotta know how he likes it. Most importantly, I gotta know how he likes it.
Yeah.
Because I want him to be real comfortable, and he should be real comfortable because, that's what's gonna make him throw that accurate pass and that, put that nice touch on it when he's comfortable. But we have to talk. We have to communicate and get on the same page, and who knows what'll happen.
For you, what was that like with Trevor Lawrence? Because Trevor, a little further in his career, but I think Trevor was in year 3 last year, heading into year 4. What was kind of that dynamic like, and how much did that help you? Because, of course, as you mentioned earlier, Matt Ryan was a former NFL MVP. This is somebody who had a player like Julio Jones, who had a certain system and a certain routine and understood all the level of detail as a veteran quarterback to expect those things and to help his skill position players, I'm sure, understand the kind of stuff that you're talking about. This is how I like this route depth, this particular angle, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Me and Trevor, like once I got,
they let pick the mic up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
once
you're all good. I know it doesn't feel like a radio show. I was hanging out in here chopping it up, but yeah.
Once they let me back into the league, me and Trevor went instantly throwing. So we were trying to get, the timing down and, get the chemistry down a little bit, the first couple of sessions were like really, really, really good. And so that let us know that, all right, we're going to be at least decent. So, And the same thing with Will. We'll just get right to it right away. And the speed, he has to see how fast I can run. He has to see, how I stop and how I cut. Because I do it a little different than some other receivers. And, so once we do that and do it a lot, that's what you do.
Now that you're back into it, I'm sure that the 2 years ago, you barely think about it anymore, although it may inform how you go about.
Yeah, I'll never.
So what about it won't you ever forget? Because that, like I mentioned earlier, it's just such a unique situation that you were kind of dropped into the middle of it. And, of course, there's accountability there as well.
Yeah.
But for you, this is for every player that comes through this league, it can be cold at times. You find out probably who's riding with you and who's not. Obviously, your family is there to support you through all of it. But what did you kind of learn about the people who you had in your life at the time and people who may have come through that with you on the other side to help you become the person and player that you are at this point?
Yeah. When you go through something like that, they're good. Everyone's going to show their hand now. Everyone's going to flip their hand around and, all right, this is what I got. So instantly I was like, okay, I see how it's going already. I see how people are acting. I'm gonna leave the season right now because I'm only hurting my team.
And this was in 21.
This is 21.
Yeah.
I'm hurting my team. I'm hurting myself, and I'm hurt. I am honestly hurt. I left the team. And then I started to see how people would be, good and bad. So some people would be good about it. Some people would be bad about it. And, honestly, I didn't care because I was doing something that I had to do for me, my family, and honestly for the team because I was hurting me and I was hurting myself. So once I did that, I went home. I did a lot of things, to, get better, therapy, everything, talking to my wife, hanging out with my kids. And that was honestly the most time I ever hung out with them before because I was always at work.
Sure.
Bro, I've literally hung out with my daughter for a year and a half, every day waking up, just chilling with her, having fun. You know what I'm saying? So once, like I said, I was at home and I'm realizing how people are. I started just not caring anymore because forget y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all showed me your hand. You were bluffing me the whole time I was around you. So it's okay. But my family stuck it out with me. They didn't make me feel weird. Not one day. They didn't make me feel weird. Not one day. And they just had the faith, man. They had the faith that, we were going to get back into the league. We're going to come watch you play. We're going to do everything that we used to do. And, by God's grace, he showed us that hand and he gave us back.
I personally am a big believer in therapy. I go to therapy. I feel like for men in particular, there's a stigma, and maybe that's gotten less. I know people like Kevin Love in the NBA have advocated very, very much for mental health and how much of a difference it can make in your personal life and your professional life, everything. How much of a value did that prove to you throughout the course of that process?
Yeah, man. I come from the toughest of the toughest of, my hometown city. If you walk down the street, if you walk in other neighborhoods, you gotta be tough. So once these things started coming on to me, I was like, oh, And once I learned and educated myself and had to spend money to educate myself.
Sure.
I said, everyone has this. I said, you would be lying if you don't have mental health. You would be lying to me if you told me that I just spent this money. I just educated myself to learn about what's going on with me. And I went and learned. You have mental health too, bro. And I'm not trying to break you down and say that, but if I have it and I learned the definition of it and all these meanings of it, you have it too. There's no way. We all live on Earth. How don't you have mental health?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a hard place to be. And that's what makes it a beautiful thing too. But there's no way you don't. You can't sit here and tell me you don't have mental health.
No, listen, I got plenty. Puff will tell you, I got plenty of problems. All right, I need as bad as anybody.
But you know, once I learned this stuff, a million people will sit right here and tell me they don't. But I'll sit here and be like, yeah, you don't. But in my head, you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What are you hiding from?
You don't have to convince me, bro. I have mental health sometimes. It comes in and out. I'm happy as I can never be in my life right now. So it's not affecting me at all. But I know it's around the corner somewhere. But like I said, I use these tools I have. So if it comes back, I'm going to kick his ass.
You're prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Calvin, it's been a great pleasure to meet you. It's been a great pleasure to chop it up with you. Unfortunately for you, you're going to have to do a lot more of these throughout the course of the coming 4 years here in Tennessee. But I know Titans fans are excited for you. The idea of playing the Jags twice a year.
Man, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
We'll take a quick break here from the facility. Lucas will join us back at Bridgestone. Calvin Ridley kind enough to give us some time. You got a message for Titans fans on the way out the door?
Tighten up. Tighten up, man. No, I'm excited to be here. My goal is to score a bunch of touchdowns. And I just want to be remembered as, a great Titan.
I'm Buck Reising. It's 104.5 The Zone.